Hi, it's Steffi from Steffi's Beads and Baubles, and I wanted to show you a little project you could do for St. Patrick's Day. And I had a couple bracelets that I got in my Goodwill boxes, and they're really pretty. This one's got a little rhinestone accent, a little feather, and it's not really St. Patrick's with the feather, but you could wear it for St. Patrick's Day. And then this was another one, which I think this charm is way too big, but they're glass beads. This one's stone, these are glass. So I thought I'd come up with a couple and then we'd make one on camera. So it's the first one I made, and this bead right here is really pretty, but oh boy, was that fun with elastic because it's a hollow metal bead. So when you have a pin, like a head pin, you can get it right through there, but the elastic always has a little turn on the end, so trying to get that through, I managed it once. It was going to be one of these here and two of these, and I gave up and just did one here and then two of the rhinestone accents, and then I added one of these little dangles, which you can get at, I believe, Hobby Lobby in a package of like I think it might be two each of 3 different colors, something like that. I'm pretty sure I got them there on clearance, but they always have some form of that. And then I did a simple one here where I used a black rhinestone bead, and then these cute, this was a little bracelet I took apart that had all kinds of fun colors, and it had these that had a little bit of green and different colors, but just enough to give it a little color. And this is also stone, and I thought that would be a lot of fun. Then this one here, these are plastic. And then this was a bracelet. I had this black bracelet and this white bracelet that I took apart to use for the 2 bracelets. So I've got the bracelet laid out here that I'm going to do. And this is what I recommend you do. If you're going to make a bracelet, you lay it out. Now I had one of those little bead bracelet things, and I gave it to one of my grandkids, and I never got it back. So I'll have to buy a new one because they really are handy. But basically I'm going to do... Let me pull it where you can see it. I'm going to put 4, and then I'm going to put a spacer, and then I'm going to do one of these white rhinestone beads, and then another rhinestone spacer, then 2 green beads, and then I'm going to put this pretty bead, which is out of the same bracelet that I used here, except for the white bead. Then I'm going to do 2 more, and then another spacer, and then another rhinestone spacer, and then 4 more. Now I use Stretch Magic. I like this stuff. This is a thick one. This is 100 millimeter. You can buy it smaller. I think I have one here that's, and I've seen people do this too, several ways. Here's a very thin one, and people use this, and this is like a 1/2 millimeter or something like that, and they will put several layers. Well, that's too much hassle for me. I'd rather have this nice, thick, heavy. Now with Stretch Magic, you're supposed to stretch it out before you use it, so it won't stretch out after the fact. And then I highly recommend you get clips of some kind. Now I got these at Dollar Tree, but you can also use a clothespin, and that's what I've used for 30 years. And don't think, oh, it'll be okay, because when I was making one of these bracelets for you, it was laid out nice on the string. I just had to add a couple things. My sleeve hit it and pulled it right out, and all the beads came off. And that's why I only ended up using one of these metal beads, because I had both of them strung and I couldn't get them both back on. And I'm like, okay, this isn't worth it. We're not going to do that. So basically you're going to take your string and you're just going to start stringing the beads on. And you know, you can do whatever you want. I use that one as kind of a slight pattern, but the fun thing is you can do any kind of pattern you want, and you can use whatever beads you have on hand. Now I took apart old jewelry. Now the stones are all beads I bought at what's called a bead market that we used to have here before the pandemic. We used to be able to go to these bead markets, and she had to cancel them because of the social distancing and stuff. So she has never really been able to bring them back, and it was a shame because people brought beads from all over the place, and boy, you could get some good deals. And I would go and spend hundreds of dollars, but I would come home with stuff that would have cost me way more, sometimes 10 times more than what I paid for it. This is where we're at so far. And stringing beads on elastic is probably one of the easiest bracelets you can make. You can do bracelets with chaining, and I've done a couple of those, and we'll do some more over time. But I think that's the wrong, yeah, wait a minute. Oh, I need one of these. I'm using these really fun AB finished. See, they got an AB finish on them. That AB means Aurora Borealis. I can't pronounce it right. But anyway, it gives this shimmery kind of multicolor. And so everybody calls it AB. So when you see AB finish, that's what it means. It means it's got that shimmery finish on it. And then we just got these 4 beads left. And put those on. And then you can do it bigger or smaller depending on the width of your, how big you need your wrist to be. If you're making to sell, the average length is supposed to be about 7.5 inches. This one will measure right about 7.5 inches. I'll move the ruler so you can see. But see, I started at the beginning and it goes to, hold on, gotta move this so you can see it. It goes right to about 7.5. So that's perfect. Now, the only thing I won't show you on camera because there's no need to, you can just do that later. Now you're just going to tie it, pull it tight, and you're going to tie a few knots. And I just do, is that called a square knot? I don't know what that's called. But what I'm going to do after I do about 3 knots, I'm going to, oops, I'm going to then get my glue out. And I'll get my glue out. I'll trim these back really short. And I'll get my glue out and I'll dab a little glue onto the knot. And you don't have to do anything fancy. I always like to leave a little tiny bit of string until the glue's dried. And then when the glue's dried, I'll trim that back. But I'll just get like tacky glue and I'll just dab it on there and just take a toothpick, just dab a little tacky glue on there. And you don't have to. If you don't want to put glue, you don't have to. But there's a bracelet that you can wear for St. Patrick's Day. Just a simple, easy to make bracelet. And see, the knot didn't come out. It probably wouldn't, but I always like to dab it top and bottom. I kind of go all the way around it with the glue. But there's a fun way to, and you can reuse, like if you have a bunch of oddball beads, you can do a bracelet where you use these as a focus. Like instead of this one, I could have used any one of those as a focus bead. I wanted to show you a variety. A lot of people have bags of these glass beads, these little Lampwork beads. This is one that I bought, I think at either Hobby Lobby or Michael's on a string. I got a bunch of them. And this is just an old necklace I took apart. Same bracelet I took apart here. I think this was a string of beads I bought. And this is one of those fiber optic beads. And so you can have a lot of fun just taking apart old jewelry. Like you can take, like here's a bracelet that could be taken apart for all the beads and the big spacers. And you know, I've got other bracelets here that can be taken apart for their parts and pieces. And this is a great project to take apart other bracelets, and especially when they're stretched out like this one. And then old chains like this, you can pull the pieces off to use as a charm. And the way I did the charm on this one is I simply used a spacer and I put a jump ring on it and then hung the charm on there. And that way you have a little rhinestone spacer. Now, if your charm has to face a certain way, that still will work because the jump ring is going this way. It just depends on how your charm fits on there. If it has a loop at the top, or if you're going through a flat, because you know what I'm saying, like if it was a flat one like this, then it would be sitting sideways. So you have to be kind of careful what kind of charm you do this application with. If it's a regular charm, you might have to just put this jump ring onto the string. That way the charm would sit, if the hole in the charm is like that, then the charm will sit facing the right way. I think, let me see how they did this one here. See, they used one of these spacers that has the jump ring holder, but same thing, they had to put an extra jump ring so that that charm would lay flat. But if you wanted to put this directly on there, all you'd have to do is put a jump ring around, just string it on the jump ring and string it between the beads. And then the jump ring would kind of be hidden between the beads. See what I'm saying? So lots of ways to do it, but just fun for St. Patrick's Day. If you don't want to wear green clothing, or you can't because you have a uniform, or you just don't have any green clothing, this is a great way to wear a little bit of green. And if you're a crafty person and you have the beads, you can even make a pair of simple earrings. I got a pair over here, I think. Yeah, got to make a pair of earrings, just simple ones like this. Just, you know, there's that fiber optic bead again. But whatever beads you're using for your bracelet, you can make a simple pair of earrings like this and have a match set. But anyway, I just wanted to do this little quick tutorial, and I'm working on another St. Patrick's Day one right now. I'm waiting between stages because there is glue involved, so it'll be something a little different, and that should be up tomorrow. So thanks so much, and I will be back soon. Bye.